Test, test. Can you hear me? Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together.
If I should call you up, invested time, and say that you belong to me, and ease my mind, imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together.
I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life.
Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be.
The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. Nobody but you for all my life. And when you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. You and me, no matter how we toss the dice, the only one for me is you and me, so happy together. How they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me was you. So happy together. So happy together. How is the weather? So happy together. So happy
Welcome to the 20th OIT Coffee House.
Woohoo!
This started in 2014. I know we have a lot of new folks in the audience tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about what is going on. My name is Chaz Grundy. I'm the Director of IT Strategy and Transformation in the OIT, and I will be your host this evening. Real quick, round of applause for our friends Sundays at 9. Like I said, this is the 20th time we've done this. We started this in early 2014, and it came about when one of my colleagues in OIT stopped by and we were talking about how many talented people we have here at the university. How many musicians, performers, lots of different kinds of talents that people bring. And he said, you know, it'd be really great if we could get all those folks together and just do something fun, just jam, hang out, do something like that. And over the years, it has grown to something like this. As you go down the halls, you hear the sounds of flutes in the common room. You hear guitars in people's offices at 501. You hear all kinds of weird stuff happening. And if you're not careful, you get roped into tap dancing with Lynette. If you're new to this, if you're new to all of what you're seeing tonight, I just gotta say this is the biggest and most extra performance we have done. I also need to get a picture because this is just something incredible to see. So yeah, look at this guy. Wow, you guys, this is amazing. We have a fantastic show. We have lots of different kinds of acts. We have a lot of music. We have dance, we have stories, we have humor. It's going to be wacky, it's going to be fun, it's going to be impressive. And one of my all-time favorite things about this show is the fact that it is the most friendly audience because we are all on the same team, working for the same thing, rooting for each other to succeed. And so when somebody gets up here and completely bombs, you'd never know because we're all there loving them. Fortunately, that doesn't happen very often unless I'm performing, so I'm just going to step off the stage and make more room for our friends. Sundays at 9, are you give us another tune?
Yeah, we got one more.
All right, before I hand it back to them to perform their second song, I want to throw out a big thank you and shout out to our sponsor, AWS.
Strong with AWS.
Our friends from Splunk and Tanium who are here as well. We had a phenomenal keynote today. I think Juliana was amazing. Thank you, Splunk, for sending her our way. That was wonderful. And I'd like to thank our leadership, Jane Livingston, the university leadership, all the IT leaders on campus who came together, partnered, made sure all of this was going to happen. It's been a phenomenal experience already. It's just going to get better. So without further delay, Sundays at 9.
Voices calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. You know I've been around the world looking for that woman girl who knows love can endure. And you know it will. Southern Cross for the first time. You understand now why you came this way. 'Cause the truth you might be running from is so small, but it's as big as the promise of the coming day. I'm sailing for tomorrow, seas are a-dying, and my love is an anchor tied to you, tied with a silver chain. I have my ship, and all the flags are a-flying. She is all that I have left, music is her name. So we cheated, we
Thank you. Thank you.
Sundays at 9, ladies and gentlemen. They're just one of the bands, one of the acts that has formed around Coffee House, the opportunity to bring people together, to bring what you do, your talents to work, show those things off, have a great time doing it, and then it just stuck and they continue to perform together and play and practice. We will have a few more of those acts coming up later tonight. Next, I am very excited to introduce one of our favorite recurring performers. He and I think, have the exact same playlist because all the stuff he plays is very much my thing. He once described himself as playing dad rock, in case that tells you a little bit. But I also am very excited to congratulate him, and maybe we can all congratulate Mr. Mark Demlow on his promotion to Associate University Librarian for Digital Strategies and Technologies.
All right. How are we doing this evening? All right, get your bellies full. There's some Nelsons over there. It's really good. All right. Sometimes I feel the weight of uncertainty steering clear, and I can't help to ask myself how much I let the fear take the wheel and steer. It's driven me before, and it seems to have a vague haunting mass appeal. Lately I'm beginning to find that I should be the one behind the wheel. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there with open arms, open eyes, yeah. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there. I'll be there. So if I decide to wait my chance to be one of the hive, would I choose water over wine, hold my own and drive? Oh, oh, oh. It's driven me before, and it seems to be the way that everyone else gets around. Lately, I'm beginning to find that when I drive myself, my light is found. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there with open arms and open eyes, yeah. Whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there. I'll be there. Thank you. All right, we're gonna back it up into the 90s a little more. It's really all dad rock is. It's like alt rock from the 90s. And I feel time's a ways to go. So where you going for tomorrow? And I see these are lies to come. Would you even care? And I'm feeling, and she's feeling. Where you going for tomorrow? Where you going with the masks around? And I feel when the dogs begin to smell her. Well, she smell alone. And I feel so much depends on the weather. So is it raining in your bedroom? And I see that these are the eyes of disarray. Would you even care? And I'm feeling, and she's feeling. Where you going for tomorrow? Where you going with the masks around? And I feel when the dogs begin to smell her. Well, she smell alone. Waiting the dogs to find her. Got time to wait for tomorrow. To find it, to find it, to find it. Waiting the dogs to find her. Got time to wait for tomorrow. To find it, to find it, to find it. To find it. Thank you.
Mr. Mark Demlow. The super awkward part where you go high five and they do the fist bump and you end up just being awkward dads. That's us. Our next performer is going to bring us a selection on the piano, and I got to tell you right now that one of my all-time favorite things, and something you'll know about me if you know me for more than just a few minutes, is that I cry at everything. Like a sad commercial, somebody's like thought-provoking T-shirt, I'll be like, oh man, that's really emotional. And one of my all-time favorite things that does that is Pixar movies. I don't know, anybody have a favorite Pixar movie? Like, all of them make me cry. And I remember this moment when one of those movies kicked in, and I just sobbed for the rest of the movie. It's a weird setup, but I'll let her take it from here. I'd like to welcome Elizabeth Zitgraff to the stage. Elizabeth Zitgraff, thank you. I'm still thinking of poor Jesse left there on the side of the road. Spoiler alert. Hey, our next act brings two of our longtime performers performing together. Have you guys performed together before up here? No? This is great. This is Dan Reck and Lisa McKenzie, and under the moniker The Cold Fusion Express. Let's hear it for Dan and Lisa.
I've been sitting here staring at the clock on the wall. And I've been laying here praying she won't call. Just another call from home. You'll get it and be gone, and I'll be crying. And I'll be begging you, baby, begging not to leave. keep telling me, baby, there will come a time when you will leave her arms and never be mine. Well, I don't think that's true, and I don't like being used, and I'm tired of waiting. It's too much pain to have to bear, to love a man you have shared. Why don't you stay down on my knees? I'm so tired of being lonely. Don't I give you what you need? When she calls you to go, there is one thing you should know. We don't have to live this way. Baby, why don't you stay? I can't take it any longer, but my will is getting stronger, and I think I know just what I have to do. I can't waste another minute after all that I put in it. I'm giving you my best. Why don't you get the best of you? So next time you find you wanna leave bed tonight, why don't you stay? I'm up on my knees. I'm so tired of being lonely. You can give me what I need. When she calls you to go, there was one thing you should know. We don't have to live this way. Baby, why don't you stay? Yeah. Oh, baby, why don't you stay? Give it up for Dan. Thank you.
So here again for Lisa and Dan, Cold Fusion. My sophomore year of college, I studied abroad in Japan, and I learned a lot of things. This is a tale of two toilets. There are two kinds of toilets in Japan. There's the Japanese style toilet, the traditional toilet, and then there's the Western style toilet. The Japanese style toilet is like if you took a urinal off the wall, sunk it into the ground, and you had the squat toilet, right there. That's how that works, right? I discovered there are several pitfalls with this kind of toilet, the first of which I discovered personally when I walked into the room, didn't know that's how the toilet worked, and I stepped into the toilet. That was great. Not too bad, that's the least of the pitfalls, because you just clean off your shoe, you're fine. The second pitfall, however, once you know the toilet is there, is how you use said toilet. You put one foot on either side. You drop your drawers, you squat down, and you try not to fall butt first into the toilet. This is because if you've grown up using these your whole life, you have built the flexibility in your knees, the strength, all of that stuff. And I was 19 years old, and I did not know I had to get conditioned in order to go to the bathroom. And so when you squat down, The next one? Oh, we're back. We're back. If I have to mime the rest of this story, it's going to get very gross and very graphic. No, the problem with the second pitfall with these kinds of toilets is, of course, the fact that if you don't have a really good center of balance, a really good, strong core, you could fall backwards. Now, if you're lucky, you'll have grab bars in the stall with you, and so you can grab onto something to hold while you do your business. And if you don't have one of those things, you can slap your hands on the walls and squeak and try to get done before you fall backwards because you're sitting way back. Now, obviously, this is a problem only if you put your weight so far to the back, because if you move it forward a little bit, you're not going to fall. But that's when the third pitfall comes in, because you now are squatting over your own underwear and pants. And when you're trying to aim for the toilet, you don't want to accidentally make a deposit in the wrong bank. I have to say, as bad as it is as an adult to wet yourself or soil your pants, it is infinitely worse to do so into garments that you are not currently wearing and then have to put on after that. Thankfully, this did not happen to me, but my classmate had the worst day ever. We enjoyed the heck out of that. These toilets were pretty popular, but they have mostly been replaced with the new style, the Western style toilet. The Western style toilet looks a lot like our toilet, right? We, in the West here, where we live, it's modeled after ours. It looks and functions mostly like ours, except our Western style toilet, you have one button. It's a lever or a button, and you push it, it flushes, right? That's how toilets work. Sometimes you get two buttons, I know. You get the small button for the small flush and the big button for the Taco Bell flush. I went to my host mother's bathroom. This is the first time I encountered this. I went in, and I couldn't help but notice the control panel on the wall with like 30 buttons. I sat down, and have you ever had that observation where you sit down and you realize that somehow a warm toilet seat is worse than a cold toilet seat? Especially if you saw the person coming out before you and you just can't help but, anyway. This is a feature. Actually, it's one of many, many, many features. This is the heated toilet seat. It is delightful. The heated toilet seat, you wake up in the middle of the night, cozy, warm bed, you pull those covers off, the frigid air plodding down the cold hallway, your feet are cold, you go into the bathroom, it's dark, and you sit down, that warm, delectable toilet seat cushioning you, warm embrace, welcoming. It is the perfect recipe for accidentally falling asleep on the toilet. And that did happen to me. Looking at this control panel on the wall, the first thing I noticed, beyond the number of buttons, was that each one of them is color-coded, has a different icon on it, a Japanese character, and I had been in the country for less than a week at this point, and I was struggling to understand what was going on with any of these things, and I didn't know what to do with these. But my eye was drawn to one of the buttons, and so I pushed it. It looked like, I don't know, a tree or a geyser or something. And I was 19, naive, had never experienced a bidet before. But when I pushed that button, I was instantly transported to Old Faithful. Very hot, very high pressure. Very surprising. I yelped. Underneath that button are heat, temperature controls, pressure controls, all this kind of crazy stuff. And there's another button underneath that. I didn't know what that did. So I'm feeling adventurous. I pushed it. This one is like if Super Soaker started making assault rifles. Like this pulsing, hot, high-pressure water. I screamed. My host mother knocked on the door for like the third time asking me if I was okay and why I was still in there so long. Didn't use that feature again. Next to the bidet feature, however, is another button that looked just like the geyser. I didn't know what the difference was, so fine, I'll push it. And this was actually the counterpart to the water. It is the air. It is a blower, air dryer for the bidet. Great, makes sense. However, it was calibrated to the opposite of the bidet, which means it was very cold pressure. And I did not expect that. Think like the can of compressed air used to clean your keyboard, but you turn it upside down and it's icy cold that shoots out. That's the feeling I didn't need after 300-degree water had scalded my undercarriage. That also is temperature and pressure controlled. I don't know why they have it set to the opposite. That was dumb. Then I decided I was done with this. I was done experimenting with buttons on the toilet, and so I hit flush, and it flushed. And I stood up, and I looked, and I saw that it had not flushed. So I pushed the button again to flush, and it flushed, except it didn't flush. Nothing's happening in the toilet itself, but I can hear it flushing, and I pushed it now a couple times. I had to look this up. I had to figure out what was going on. Japan is an island nation. It has scarce resources. Fresh water is a resource that they manage carefully. And it's also a very polite culture in general. So when Japanese folks would go into the bathroom, they would do one thing first. They would press the lever and they would flush the toilet, and then they would continue flushing the toilet the entire time they were using the bathroom, and then at the very end, because they wanted to cover up the sound, the impolite sounds of their waste. This is very wasteful, by the way. Manufacturers got smart and they invented what's known as the Sound Princess. It is a device, you push a button and it makes water flushing sounds the entire time you're in there. This is great, but it also explains my befuddlement at standing there flushing and it's not flushing and I don't know what to do. I am ashamed to admit that I walked out without flushing that toilet because I couldn't figure out how to work it. Now I work in IT. While I was looking up the Sound Princess and learning all about that, I discovered that some of the newer toilets have waste collection analyzers. So they will gather samples when you go, and then they will run it through a battery of tests, analyze it, and spit out important diagnostic information like information about, say, blood sugar or your diet or things like that. Or, man, Chaz, you've been sitting on the toilet for a very long time. Get up. I don't like this feature. It reminds me too much of Dora the Explorer, where there's like some smart toilet aspect of this. You guys remember Dora, like in the backpack? You put something in the backpack and goes, yum, 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 delicioso. And that is the last thing I want in my head when I'm going to the bathroom. The last feature, and my favorite feature personally, the one that as soon as this got into my head, I could not let go of it the entire rest of the year when I was in Japan. And that is the fact that that entire control panel on the wall is removable and wireless, and is a remote control for the toilet. And once this idea came in my mind, I couldn't help but think, how much I wish I had one of these Western-style toilets back home. So I could wait for my brother to go in the bathroom while I sat down the hall, cranked that baby to high, and sent him straight to Old Faithful. Thank you. Next up, we have a perennial favorite, the inimitable Denise Moser.
Lay down his glory for the least of the dead. Knock down the gates of hell with just one breath. No other king will reign until the end. Jesus, no one is like you. Jesus, no one beside you. Of this I am convinced, no greater love exists. Jesus, no one is like you. Jesus, no one beside you. Of this I am convinced, no greater love exists. Forever all my hope is in. Forever all my hope is in. No other king. No other king. No other
Thank you to Denise Mosier. Everybody, let's give it up for Denise. Our next act is as they're getting set up. I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this performer or this performance here. This group formed as a result of Coffee House again. This is another one. Their very first Coffee House, they did an a cappella performance. They called themselves OIT Glee. And since then, they have performed at every single coffee house, as well as being invited to perform in a number of different places. They performed at the University President's Christmas reception. They performed at John Guzman's service. They have performed at Christmas parties and lots of different kinds of events around campus and off campus. They're just fantastic. And the group changes all the time. Not all of them are listed in your program because I think we ran out of paper. There's just a lot here, so very exciting. Am I done vamping? Are you guys almost? This is definitely one of my favorites. While they're finishing up setup, I just want to give a big shout out to Reggie Batusik and his wife Dana, who provided the cotton candy tonight. They have a side business called The Right Fluff. They do this for events, they do it for fundraisers and things like that, and he offered to do it for our show, and they're doing this pro bono, and it's just part of the fun, part of the atmosphere. So thank you so much to Reggie and Dana and all of that. And with that, here's OIT Glee.
You guys get closer.
Testing. Just thought I would introduce this first piece. It's by a Scottish, both a preacher and composer from the Iona community. The piece is entitled Love One Another. Sometimes it's easier to say this text than to actually live it. But it's a beautiful text originally written for a wedding based on the 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 through 19. Love one another.
Love one another, for love is of God.
Thank you. The next piece is from South Africa called Hallelujah, Pelotza Rona, We Sing Your Praises.
Let's hear it for OIT Glee. I gave every one of them a high five as I came down the stairs, and I did get 2 fist bumps to the hand, so thus proving how awkward I continue to be. While our next performer is getting set up, we have a special treat for you tonight. We are going to debut a video that we have produced recently. This is actually going to be a campaign that we are building. This is going to be a series of videos that we will release this fall from the OIT. And it is in place of the security carnival we did last year. This is a security video of a different sort. And if it's ready, we can get started. This video is called, this is episode 1 of Scam School.
Okay, listen up, scammers. Leading a group of digital scammers, you've got to be direct. Emily here duped 7 students into thinking that she was offering them a remote job. $signs in the subject lines. Genius. That, by the way, is how you get them to open it. And then they give her their account info, and that's our way in. Put on the big boy pants. Really crank up the scam meter, okay? We clean up some of our mistakes. Weird grammar, misspellings. But we have to mimic that Notre Dame professor perfectly if we're gonna get more people to fall for it. $1,000 a week. That's a little bit too good to be true. Get that out of there. And don't, please, don't use your real name in the signature.
All right, okay, fine. But hey, I got this reply that says the job is not on the university's job board.
Yeah, you gotta let that one go. Team, if they check the university job board, that's a dead end for us. Sure, all this new email security stuff does make our jobs harder. But hey, I'm already working on the next big scam. And if they can't spot them, we've got them.
Scammers will never stop trying to trick you. Stay scam aware. Don't get schooled.
Man, I don't need this job. I just got an email offering me $1,000 per week.
I bet it's fully remote too, huh?
Yeah.
Huge thanks and shout out to our lead scammer, Mr. Reggie Batusik, who's also doing cotton candy back there. Reggie, everybody give a up for Reggie. And also huge thanks to Krista Motes, who directed and produced this video, and all of the folks who volunteered and participated in this thing. We're working on more videos that will come out, and they'll all be in the same kind of vein. So, all right, before we, to bring our next performer up here, I wanted to tell you a very brief story. A little while ago, we went to a wedding, and we were walking up to the reception, and we're standing out there in line for like 5 minutes, just trying to get in the place. There's so many people, and they funnel us all down, and we get in there, and then we go into like the main kind of this vestibule thing, and they've got a photo station, and there's like 25 people in front of us, and everyone takes a couple minutes. They got all the different costumes and signs and stuff, and so we're waiting there. It's like 45 minutes before we finally get into the reception. And by that point, we're tired, and we're hot, and we're thirsty, and so I went over to the punch bowl, and I got us a couple of drinks, and I came back, and we had drinks. It was a lovely reception. It was a lot of fun. It was a great night. There was no punchline. But I'm pretty sure our next performer has a whole bunch of punchlines. I'd like to introduce the always funny, my very best friends, Casey Keel.
Good evening, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Casey Keel, and I am one of the graphic artists for OIT. And normally, as some of you might know, I like to put together a parody music video for the coffee house. But this time, I didn't finish in time. I know you're shocked. So I decided to try something a little different. I'm honestly not sure if this is going to be stretching too much for me, but I'm an artist, and we often don't know how to draw the line. Before doing graphic arts here, I was doing fine arts, but then I stopped doing art for a while. Then I was just doing fine. I'm not sure why I got into art, but I can tell you it was not for the Monet. I spent a lot of years in the Baroque period. Fortunately, my husband has always supported me financially. Not always in other ways, though. He actually told me today that I was colorblind. That comment really came out of the orange. Speaking of family, I'm really happy to have my family here tonight. Right there is my son, Caden. Wave. Woo! He's 14 and will be entering high school and be a freshman this year. But sometimes his thought process is a little more elementary. He asked me on the way here, "Mom, do trees poop?" Ridiculous question. I said, "Where do you think number 2 pencils come from?" Okay, poop jokes are not my favorite, but they are a solid number 2. He's been enjoying summer break so far. He's trying to organize a hide-and-seek competition, but good players are really hard to find. I'm glad he's moved on to hide-and-seek now. He was struggling with a hokey-pokey addiction. Fortunately, he's really turned himself around. We hired a counselor to help him with it because he was also addicted to soap. Fortunately, he finally got clean. His counselor was actually our family's grief counselor. Sadly, he died today. He was so good, we didn't even care. Right there is also my daughter, Mackenzie. Woo! She is 16 and my little socialite. She's recently got into blindfolded archery. Have you guys ever tried it? You don't know what you're missing. She had to give it up a little bit, though, to get a summer job. She had started mowing jobs, but she lost that. She just couldn't cut it. So now she's thinking of becoming a waitress, but I told her, you better be prepared to bring a lot to the table. Man, I have a whole list of jokes here about being unemployed, but none of them worked. My daughter Kalia is also in the audience. She is 18 and she just graduated high school. Woo! And I gotta tell you a funny story. Right before the coffee house started, she asked to borrow some of my chapstick, and I accidentally gave her my super glue instead. She seems mad, but she still won't open up to me about it. She had this really awkward moment the other day when this guy, you've been here before, is like, you couldn't tell if he was waving at you or waving at the guy behind you. In other news, she lost her job as a lifeguard. She thought about getting another job at the mall, but she has a fear of elevators, and she's taking steps to avoid it. My other son, Mason, is also here. He will be celebrating his 21st birthday in 4 days. Yay. He's a senior at Rose-Hulman University, so he is pretty smart now. But when he was little, he used to chew on electrical wires. So naturally, I had to ground him. He's doing better currently. He's actually conducting himself properly. He had considered first in going to college for history, but I told him that's a pointless degree. Sorry, Jane. But be honest, there is literally no future in that. So then he decided to consider a degree in math, but that comes with a lot of problems. He did, however, start a business teaching math to short people. It's called Making the Little Things Count. He ultimately followed in his father's footstep and went into mechanical engineering. Speaking of, right there is my husband, Matt. You know? Woo. He also went to Rose-Hulman and is a mechanical engineer, but he often says he'd really love to be paid to sleep. That'd be his total dream job. You might have noticed that he is missing a leg. Sorry. He actually lost it in a tragic shark accident, shark attack. It almost took his entire left side, but now he's all right. One thing he was right about was making me see a chiropractor. I mean, I didn't believe in it at all at first, but now I stand corrected. He's wrong sometimes too, though. He wanted to wear camouflage tonight. He thinks it's sexy. I just can't see it. Not here tonight is our cat Raven. I accidentally took her meds last night. Don't ask me how. And we have a dog named Scout. He ate an entire bag of Scrabble tiles this morning, so I took him to the vet. I'm really worried it's going to spell disaster. Still no word yet. Oh, hey, did anybody see the new cybersecurity guide in here? He was going to help me with something. Oh, well, he probably ran somewhere. We'll just stop here then. I appreciate you putting up with this tonight. I know puns are just the worst. To be frank, my kids thought I was going to chicken out tonight, but I told them, hey, I am no weenie. In all seriousness, I have really relished this time with you. It's been so good to catch up. And I really hope that someone out there who is nervous about performing at the coffee house next time has been encouraged by this performance tonight. Because if you ever think about performing something and then think, nah, that might be a bad idea, just picture me up here, telling dad jokes in a hot dog costume. You literally can do anything. And no matter what happens, this is a safe place with friends. Because really, at the end of the day, it's night. Good night, everybody.
Let's hear it for Casey Keel. After Glee, Casey said, I need just a minute. I'm going to go put my hair in a bun. And I didn't realize where that was going. Our next performer joined us last time at Coffee House, very first time. He had been on stage with us and performed a solo piece. He introduced himself as Yaz Flute. And I had to ask him what that meant. And so apparently this is a reference from a movie, and I'm going to just let him explain that if he wants to, because right now we have more Yaz Flute with Lisan Smith.
Quick little tune. Just wanted to give some quick backstory about this song. So I'm going to be playing a part 2 from a jazz suite that was written by Claude Bowling. Claude Bowling was a composer back in the 70s that worked with a couple musicians, and he is made known, most famous for the jazz flute suite that he put together to play with Pierre-Jean Rampal. This record was so popular back from 1975 to 1985. It spent 10 years on Billboard's top 40. So pretty crazy decade for music at the time, and to think this jazz suite of, for the flute was in the top 40 on the billboards for a while was it's pretty crazy to me. That being said, I've had a really good time learning it, so I really hope you enjoy it. This is called Sentimental. It's part 2 of the Claude Bowling suite for jazz and flute and piano. So hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, give it up for Lisa! So I was just sitting down chatting with Brian DeKemper from AWS, and he was looking at my set list sheet. He was like, tappers? You guys, wait, I thought the tap thing was a joke. And I said, no, you have no idea yet. Our very first coffee house, when this idea was pitched, we decided that, in order to avoid a situation where somebody says something really inappropriate, we have to cut the mics in the middle of their act, we would limit it to just music. Now, obviously, that has changed over time, but the very, very, very first one, I had somebody come up to me, Lynette Votava came up and said, hey, I know you said just musical stuff, but, is there room for something else? I said, what do you do, Lynette? And she says, I've been teaching and tap dance for 30 plus years. I mean, every single one of these shows, we have found ways to get her out here and tapping, and every single time, she pulls more and more people into her circle. So we have Amy Lehman, Tracy Weber, Katie Rose, Lynette Votava, the OIT Tappers.
This is that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them good girls, straight masterpieces. Stylin', wildin',
Can I just say that most of us didn't know until very, 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 very recently that we were going to be required to dance. And I did tell my entire team, you don't have to do this, but I am also super proud of everybody who got up here and danced with them. So Lynette, Katie, Tracy, and Amy, OIT Tappers, so good. All right, so one of the nice benefits of having bands that form out of coffee house is that when somebody with a talent wants to show it off, but they need some folks to collaborate with, we have so many people to do that. And Lisa has such a big talent to share, such a big voice, such a big personality, and such a big heart. Lisa McKenzie with Sundays at 9.
How's everybody doing out there? You having a good time? Yeah! How can you beat Jeff Critchlow and his turnout here with Uptown Funk? Oh, yeah. Give a round of applause for Jeff, man. And all of the Uptown Funk players there. That was great. It was a lot of fun. So I think we're gonna do a little more rock and roll time.
You might recognize this. You two did it a while back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was a sailor, I was lost at sea. I was on the waves before love rescued me. I was a fighter, I could turn on the thread. And I stand accused of the things I say. When love comes to town, I'm gonna jump that train. When love comes to town, I'm gonna that plane. Maybe I was wrong to never let you down, but I did what I did before love came to town. Used to make love under a red sunset. I was making promises I would soon forget. She was bare that lace on a wedding gown, but I left her standing before love came to town. Ran into a juke jar, heard the guitar scream. The notes were turning blue, I was running in a dream. As the music played, saw that turn around. That was the day when love came to town. Love comes to town, I'm gonna jump that train. When love comes to town, I'm gonna catch that flame. Maybe I was wrong to never let you down, but I did what I did before love came to town.
I take a deep breath here. All right, Dan. You know, you always got a guitar player making the guitar change. All right, we're gonna do a little Rolling Stones, Linda Ronstadt song for you. Thanks, everybody.
Give it up again for Lisa McKenzie with Sundays at 9. As you see, there are folks up here who are not part of OIT. Not all of them are necessarily IT. Our family has gotten bigger, and I think this week our family got huge, and it got awesome. The IT retreat has brought together hundreds of people. We have like 450 people we invited to participate in the retreat. They are IT professionals, they're IT adjacent professionals, they're folks who work in IT but don't have IT jobs, like, you know, my whole team, our business office, lots and lots of other folks. I also love how many people are completely outside of this community who join in, who come participate. Tom Guinan on the drums, holy cow. Just hear it, Tom, come on. It's one of my favorite things, bringing more people into this, growing our family and our community, and being here for each other. It's fantastic. There's Tom. There's his back. I was like looking for him. All right, our next performer joined us during the COVID years when we were doing virtual coffee houses and we were recording these, and he just has such a lovely voice. He rejoined the OIT part after years working in a law school in IT. He's joined back here, and now he works with the investment office as part of OIT, and many of you guys will recognize and love Mr. Clint Brown.
All right, thanks, Chaz. The song I'm going to sing tonight is it's written by an artist that recently went through some really heartache and went through some addiction problems, and the song was what he wrote basically to help others as they are going through a rough time, and it's basically saying to embrace the road you're walking. You're going to make it out alive. So thank you for letting me share this with you.
It's the moment you realize all this pain can't be undone. Look around at all the wreckage and you wonder if it's worth it, all the work left to be done. To run and hide would be so easy. You don't want to stay and fight. If you don't give yourself completely, you won't get to see the beauty waiting on the other side. It's gonna take some time. Healing always does. Embrace the road you're walking. Be patient with the process. You're gonna make it out alive. When you got no other option, and it's time to tell the truth. When all the walls you built start falling, you'll find mercy at the bottom. He makes all things new. It's gonna take some time. Healing always does. Embrace the road you're walking. Be patient with the process. It's gonna make it out alive. You're gonna make it out alive. You're gonna reach the other side. You're gonna make it out alive. Step into the furnace, let the fire serve its purpose. It's painful in the flame, but it's what it takes to change. If you want a resurrection, then a dying has to happen. This death is not the end, it's where your life began. It's gonna take some time. Healing always does. Embrace the road you're walking. Be patient with the process. You're gonna make it out alive.
I had to get the name right. Apparently this matters a lot to Mark's wife that I get this name exactly right. This is the Demlo Family Experience. Bringing back Mark Demlo and his family. Woo!
Hey everybody, give it up for my talented kids. They're awesome.
pitching is bringing me out the dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear. Go ahead and tell me out, and I'll lay your ship bare. See how I leave with every piece of you. Don't underestimate the things that I will do. There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark. The scars of your love remind me of us. They keep me thinking that we almost had it all. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. I can't help feeling we could have had it all. Rolling in the deep, deep. You have my heart inside your hand, and you played it to the beat. Baby, I have no story to be told, but I've heard one on you, and I'm gonna make your head burn. Think of me in the depths of your despair. Make it home down there, just mind your own cliché. The scars of your love remind me of us. They keep me thinking that we almost had it all. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. I can't help feeling we could have had it all. Rolling in the deep, deep. You have my heart inside your hand, and you played it to the beat. We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep, you have my heart inside your hand, but you played it with the beat. Throw your soul through every open door. Count your blessings to find what you look for. Turn my sorrow into treasure gold. Pay me back in kind and reap is what you sow. We could have had it all. We could have had it all. It all, it all, it all. We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep, deep. You have my heart inside your hand, and you played it to the beat. We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep, deep. You have my heart inside your hand, and you played it, you played it, you played it, you played it to the beat.
Let's hear it for Sylvan, Amelia, and Mark Demlow, the Demlow Family Experience. I'd like to thank our some of our partners who helped to host and put on this event tonight. I want to thank Nelson's. The food was phenomenal. Love it. So good. Thank you so much to Nelson's, to UEE, and our bartenders who are working very hard to serve us. Please tip them well. OIT is picking up the tab tonight. For those of you who have never been to a coffee house before, you got to pay for your own drinks usually. This is special. Also, can I just say thank you to whoever purchased these incredibly difficult to see out of sunglasses. I cannot see hardly anything. The flashing is giving me a seizure. I also want to put a big thank you to Kat Lane, all the way back. Kat Lane, back there, and Adam Hill. Kat runs and manages Stepan Center and Washington Hall and is a phenomenal woman and a great person to have here doing this. She's been a friend for a long time. And Adam Hill also helping to coordinate facilities things for the whole retreat as well as tonight. All right, next up, we are bringing back Mr. Tom Guinan, Brandon Rich, Colin Hodgson, Dave Barstis, And we're going to do Parody Brothers. Parody Brothers. This has been going on since the beginning. It is great. It's hilarious. And I think we even have words on slides. Isn't that right, Colin?
Yes, there are words on the slides, and there's a reason for that, because these are parody songs, and we're not singing the regular words, so we kind of want to clue you in to what words we are singing. And this first one, can I talk about the song for a second?
Can.
The song was called Jenny Jenny 8675309. Has anybody ever heard of it? So this song was Tommy and the Two Tones, Tommy Two Tone, and this thing was on the chart for 40 weeks. Most of a year on the charts. And what happened was people started calling this number, 8675309, in their own area code, right? Now, there's 335 area codes, so 335 people in the United States had the number, 8675309, one of which was phoned in a Brown University dorm room, and another was a sheriff's department in Arizona. The sheriff eventually sued Tommy Two Tone because of all the calls they got from this song. But we're not singing about 8675309. We're singing about our favorite phone number, the phone number for the help desk.
Let's hear it for the Parody Brothers.
I have a song I like to sing in these awkward moments. It goes like this. If any of you know Animaniacs, that's what I grew up on. It goes like this. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, Memphis, Guyana, Barbados, and Guam.
All right, Brandon Rich, everyone. Help me, who can I turn to? My octave's broken and that means I need you. I know it's 58 minutes after 4, and this will take an hour, maybe more. Help desk, I got your number. I need to take your time. Help desk, don't change your number. 6318111. 6318111. 6318111. Sing it with us. 6318111. Help desk, you won't adore me. I spilled my coffee on my laptop. Please fix that for me. I should have called you before, but I was perturbed. It's not my imagination that you are concerned. Help desk, I got your number. I need to take your time. Help desk, don't change your number. 6318111. Sing it. 6318111. 6318111. 6318111. People ask for this song, but no one ever plays it. The song is Free Bird. Have you ever heard it? All right. Have you ever run into somebody who was so enamored with their particular email client that they would never ever give it up, even though they've got options? In this song, we're going to pay tribute to the people who love the email client Thunderbird. All you Thunderbird fans out there, this is for you.
I've got to read. And if I tried this in Gmail now, things just wouldn't be the same. I'm a Thunderbird. How about you? And my mail you cannot change. And my mail you cannot change. And my mail you cannot change. Political Mozilla. Poppin' iMac, especially iMac. It's really hard for me to change. But please don't take it so badly. Google Mail so late.
changed my email client.
Parody Brothers! Holy cow! I was back there talking to Reggie from the help desk. We were watching Cotton Candy, and I said, they're doing Freebirds, so I might have 30 seconds or 30 minutes before I have to come back up here and introduce our next act. I don't know. You don't know. It was delightful. So good. Our next act, this is, I am thrilled to invite one of our newer OITers up to the stage. When people join the OIT, so many of us now, our first question is, hey, do you perform? Do you do any kind of music or acting or anything like that? And most of the time people are a little weirded out by that question. You don't ask it in the interview because they may not show up. But sometimes you ask the question, they say, yeah, I play in a band, or yeah, I've been doing flute for 500 years or something like that. And every once in a while you get something, and they say yes, and we say, great, I got an opportunity for you. Scott Straguzzi and Montana Carlozo, did I get this right? Close enough? I didn't even get halfway through the sentence, and Scott's like, yeah, tell me when and where, right? So he described this to me recently, a few weeks ago, what song they're going to perform. I'm going to let him set this up. It is beautiful. It is morose. It is heartbreaking and inspiring and moving, and I cannot wait to hear this performance. So, Scott and Montana.
All right, just to test out this mic. Just wanted to thank everybody who's still here for staying out here. I know we're starting to get late into the night, and so we're going to be bringing down the tempo just a little bit. The song we're going to be singing is called Good Riddance from the Hades game, if anybody is familiar. And once Scott gets all set up, we're going to get started.
The weight of the world.
Let's hear it again for Scott and Montana. They mentioned that this song is actually an integral part of a video game called Hades, and Scott described to me the meaning behind this thing. There's a Greek myth. It is amazing and beautiful and heartbreaking. He recommended that you check out the game for sure if you're a gamer, and if not, the song just is just so emotional and moving. I loved it. Thank you so much for Scott and Montana. I was recently alerted to the fact that Casey Keel came up here and delivered like 30 minutes of dad jokes and everybody cracked up and laughed at him. But then when I come up here and I do a dad joke, everybody just groans and rolls their eyes at me, and I just have to assume that there's something about a hot dog costume. Or maybe it's just Casey's charisma. I don't know. But yeah. I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna retire on the dad jokes because apparently Casey is better at dad jokes than I am. So. Everybody apparently agrees. All right, our next act, our penultimate act is The Danimals, featuring Dan Reck, Dave Barsis, Tom Guinan, Colin Hodgson, and Brandon Rich. You haven't seen these folks up on stage yet, have you? The Danimals!
Reminds me of Mitch Hedberg joke. He says, that was just the same joke with different ingredients.
Penitentiary. We're gonna do one from Bob Dylan. Here, maybe. And also George Harrison.
If not for you, babe, I couldn't even find the door. I couldn't even see the floor. Oh, I'd be sad and blue. If not for you, if not for you, find me wide awake, waiting for the day to break. I wouldn't have a clue if not for you. If not for you, my sky would fall, rain would gather too. Without your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you. If not for you, the winter would hold no spring. I couldn't hear the robins sing, just wouldn't have a clue. If not for you, not for you. If not for you, my sky would fall, rain would gather too. Without your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you. If not for you, babe, I couldn't even find the door. I couldn't hear the robins sing. I'd be sad and blue, not for you.
back, everybody. All right, we're going to do one more, and then we'll get you out of here. This is a nice Indiana song. If you know the words, jump in, because I'll probably mess them up.
She grew up in an Indiana town with a good-looking mama who never was around, but she grew up tall, grew up bright with the Indiana boys on the Indiana night. She moved down here at the age of 18, blew the boys away, it was more than they'd see. I was in a goose and we both started grooving. You said it like a baby, but I gotta keep moving on. Moving on. Last dance with Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. I feel something creeping in and I'm tired of this town again. Well, I don't know, but I've been told you never slow down, you never grow old. I'm tired of myself, I'm tired of this town. Where we go down and down. Oh my, oh hell yes. Gotta put on that party dress. Bring me a drink, sing me a song. Take me as I come, cause I can't stay long. Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. I feel summer creeping in and I'm tired of this town again. There's pigeons down on Market Square. She's standing in her underwear, looking down from a hotel room. Nightfall will be coming soon. Oh my, oh hell yeah. You got to put on that party dress.
Take me as I come, cause I can't stay long.
Last dance with Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. I feel summer creeping in and I'm tired of this town again.
Last dance. All right, if you volunteered to come up and play the blues with us tonight, then you need to come up on stage right now. Please come on up.
See Scott.
plugged in or give you an instrument to play, whatever you want. Let's hear it for Scott. He was brave enough to come up and play this song. Scott! Woo! Both Scott. Volunteers. I said your party's jumping and everybody's having a good time. You know what's going through my mind. Now do you mind if I get comfortable? Kick off these shoes. Let's see. Gotta play a drink and play me some of them down home blues. She said, you know I don't get out much. She said, you know I don't get out much out on the town. You know I done cut out a lot of that running around all week long. I've been keeping my cool, but tonight I'm gonna let my hair down, get down at this down home blues. Down home blues, down home blues. All she wants to hear is singing down home blues all night long. Every other record or two. She said, take off those fast records. Let me hear some of them down home blues. Thank you, Brandon. Scott Kerner on the piano. Scott Phil on the guitar. said, you know, old man, he's gonna wanna fight. He calls every hour, I'll be heading home tonight. But I don't care, I don't care. Tonight I'm gonna do as I choose. I'm gonna get my head banged and party out those down home blues. Down home blues, down home blues. All she wants to hear, let's hear it. Down home blues all night long. Every other record or two. I'm gonna get my head banged. Give me some of them down home. All right, we need you up here, Chaz, to close this out.
Hey folks, this has been the 20th OIT Coffee House. Huge thanks to Event Sis for making us look and sound great. Huge shout out to UEE and Nelson's for feeding us. Big thanks to Cat Lane for helping organize and run this venue. To the SLT, to Jane, to Shannon, to everybody for supporting this crazy stuff we do that makes this the place to be, to work. And finally, thank you to our OIT Coffee House team, Lynette Votava, Todd Lemons, Adam Hill, Colin Hodgson. I'm Chaz Grundy, I've been your host. Let's hear it for this blues jam. Let's close it out, boys!
All right, here you go, your last chance to sing tonight. Down home blues, down home blues. All she wants to hear is down home blues all night long. Every other record or two. She said, I'm gonna get my head straight and party up those down home. Thanks for hanging.